Hello and welcome to the East Lampeter Township Public Meeting. All participants are now informed that this meeting is being recorded. This meeting is also being offered virtually utilizing Zoom, which is a cloud-based platform for remote video and audio conferencing. The Zoom application is free to the public. The general public is therefore able to join the meeting by connection through the internet or by calling in by phone. The public is also able to observe the meeting on the township's YouTube channel. Please continue to check the Township website calendar for any updates related to these public meetings. Agendas for these public meetings will also be available on the Township's website. Please be reminded that this meeting is being video and audio recorded and will be posted to the Township's YouTube channel for viewing. The meeting will now proceed with the chairman calling the meeting to order and identifying all other members present in the meeting room and those joining the meeting via Zoom. The chairman will then confirm those members joining by Zoom can be heard.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to call the meeting of the East Lampeter Township Emergency Services Committee to order. If we could all please rise and pledge allegiance to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right, at this time, then we'll acknowledge all members present. If we can just go down the list, I'll make sure that everyone's here. Just say you're here, please. Mr. Dean, who is the alternate supervisor this evening. Claire Graham. Paul Fisher.
Present.
Don Boyer. Another actor. Jim Martin, I'm here. Dave King. Here. Jason Byler. Steve Gribble. Here. Melanie McHenry.
Here.
Greg Sherman. Mike Kramer. Chad Engler. And emergency management, we'll have Brett Bosnock. And let's see. We just now got our alternate chair who arrived, Eric. All right, I'd like to recognize those in the audience who could please. Okay, very good. Is there anyone that I missed? Okay, very good. All right, then we'll start with approval of minutes of the May 19th meeting. This time we'd like to take a motion unless there are changes or additions that anyone would like to make to those minutes. I would entertain a motion for approval. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with one change, and that is Mike Kramer is recognized as the secretary. He already has that change.
Okay, we recognize that change. Any other changes? Corrections. Okay, at this time, then I need a second.
I'll second that.
Paul, second. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. So we'll go into old business. The old business before us is the replacement of Whitmer's tanker. The minutes from the last meeting, we asked each of the fire companies to go back and provide us with a decision on going forward on reimbursement. I've received from Lafayette their board's decision, and their board's decision was 60-40.
Stay the course, since the tank default, the current plan, we're still in the current plan, no change. Current plan, 60-40.
Okay, Burton Hand.
We have the same position, yes.
60/40.
60/40. And Ross,
We did 60/40 also.
60/40 also. And Whitmer,
80/20.
80/20. Okay, so we have majority rule here, 60/40. We'll go forward with that recommendation to the township supervisors.
Just so the committee's aware, the board did take action after your last meeting to approve a 60/40 arrangement with the understanding that it was going to be discussed further by the committee, but they did approve 60/40 previously.
That was in their May.
I think it might have been the June meeting
Oh, no.
when that occurred.
Okay. All right. There is any other discussion on apparatus replacement at this time? We'll move to Whitmer and ask if you move forward, I guess, with
The word that's on first, we have work on part of the service.
have they given you a timeline now that they've ordered parts,
Parts.
just when they get here?
Everything else,
Yeah.
some things that are out for a while.
Okay. And you'll keep us informed as you move along. All right. Hand in hand, your,
You have a question there?
oh, I'm sorry.
Question about the refurbishment and apparatus plan. The apparatus plan was initially set forth at 60/40 for the current Woodward's tanker of was purchased in 1994. Good plan. Doing planning with the supply chain down here. So now that we are moving to 60/40, Woodward's tanker, the refurbishment. I think we should have Woodward provide a letter to the council to that sell that we kind of agree with this, that's the township, just the current plan stays to other purpose background.
So it stays the same for the entire program. All right. Is there any other discussion from other members of the committee regarding that? Is there any objection to that? If not, then will we take that as a motion, Dave?
It's like we make a motion. Provide a letter, make the township, reimburse the township's percent of the.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay, Paul? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So Whitmer, you please take care of that, send it to us here at the committee as well as to the township. Anything formal from the committee, as long as Whitmer.
No, I'll pass that recommendation on to the supervisors so they're aware of it.
I'm sorry? Okay. All right, can you hear me? Jack, can you hear us?
It's kind of hard to hear you guys, but I can get every few words. Yeah.
We try to be vigilant here and talk into our mics.
Thanks.
Okay, let's switch to Burton. Do you have any discussion on your engine replacement?
Yeah, just a little bit of an update. We are continuing to meet. Our committee is very active right now. They've been meeting pretty frequently. I'm not sure exactly. I think every couple of weeks here. And they are making progress. I don't have a whole lot of detail at this point, but it looks like probably we're looking at around year end that we'll have, hopefully be able to start sharing a lot of detail with this committee. I think by year end, we're going to be close to the point where we should have it spec'd out and be ready to get feedback and hopefully move forward with the purchase. I don't know what lead times will be at that point, but they are making some pretty good progress now. And we're running pretty hard with it. So yeah, I think that's all I have.
All right, very good. Lafayette, any discussion on your ladder? On 26?
Ladder truck at Lafayette, there has been one meeting. Pretty much at that meeting, the parameters were set up as far as the timing of when we're going to have the meeting, who's going to attend, how we were entertained, the suggestions. There are no real actions.
Thank you. Ronks, do you have any discussion at all on any? Say,
No,
Or
but
Steve, I'm
I
sorry.
guess the only question I have is with things moving back, what's that going to do with our budgeting and monies? I know loaded question, but if right now, like you're looking at a 2 years turnaround for a fire truck, I believe. And what that's going to do is move Bird and Hand back because they were originally talking 2023. Lafayette's moving on now. What it's going to do, if we're not careful here, we'll have the trickle down effect where we're going to get jammed up here again if we're not careful. And I know parts and the lead time and deliveries are so up in the air right now, but I'm just tossing it. It's not a question. It's more of a statement,
Yeah,
but it will, our 5-year plan that we look at things
with supply
We'll-
chain
we'll-
problems.
will definitely move things out here. And could cause a budgeting nightmare here, possibly. So,
The township continues to plan on the basis of the current plan. So, as far as funding the township's share of those future purchases, we're planned for 2023 for Bird and Hand and 2026 for Lafayette.
Any other discussion on the engine replacement at this time? Or equipment replacement at this time? If not, then we'll move on to the next discussion, human resource concerns. I had some discussion with Mike Thornton, who is our supervisor representative. And I know that he sent an email to some of the other supervisors as well regarding some efforts being made with Whitmer and Lafayette for a volunteer challenge program at CB. Some discussions going on. Would you like to discuss that at all?
Basically what the discussion was about is kind of getting us back into the schools like we used to do. There used to be the fire club and stuff like that. But this is a program here that we're looking to kind of get going, would be more on the high school level to kind of work on some of these issues that we're having with recruitment and stuff. Looking to try to get that started. I missed something, Susan, correct me. To get something started in there that we could possibly use as a curriculum type deal to where they can get credits, to where, okay, they're in the school, just like if they're going to VOTEC, you're in school here for these days. The other days you're maybe hanging at the fire department, doing stuff, helping with that, getting a feel for that. Then there was also discussion Once that program got back up, to try to get back into the middle schools and do the fire program again. President Miller that was willing to do that, something that he had presented before. The school actually kind of shut him down, but it's something that was beneficial back in the day. So it's just some other things that we're trying to do to get out there, you know. Lafayette, I know, has had some experience, you know, with people that have moved on to Stephen, you know, that's coming to Stephen Tech. They'll run with them during the week or whatever they're here. Then when they go back home, they run with that company. So it's something that could be beneficial, I think, all the way around.
I understand that the supervisor, the senior supervisor has agreed to work together on this program with you. And there's going to be a meeting here sometime in the near future with key staff to try to solidify a curriculum of some sort.
Yep.
So it sounds like that's.
Yeah,
positive.
there's already a curriculum that's been designed by,
It's called Schoolhouse for Firehouse, and we are basing it on the program that is already in place at South Media Fire Company, which is outside Philadelphia, and the person was just at our cadet camp this past weekend, so we have a really good connection there. There are some consultant fees involved, but they're very minimal, and that we're prepared to explore that together with CV School District because it makes for a very easy transition.
Good. Yeah, and I understand that you did have the cadet camp this weekend. Was that a success?
Yes,
Cadet
it was.
camp,
Back in the day, it was.
but the 15th and the 16th, this last one.
Oh, the cadet camp that we just had?
That
Yeah,
you
that was a
just had.
success. Yes, we started out with only 13 who had signed up for that, but that increased to 27 once it was opened up for free admission.
Super, super.
Those youth are very young.
So from a long-term perspective, there's some promise there that you have.
Those
Planted a seed.
children came from all over.
Okay.
So, yes, there's some seeds that were planted there, yes. The CV High School, that program in the past had generated a good bit of interest, and it's great to see that get off the ground again.
Yeah, I think Mike has given us a good in to the district there to get started. And the two ladies I know, I met with them earlier, 2-3 months ago. They're anxious to get moving as well on it. So Susan, thank you. And your wife. Okay.
Okay, one thing to add to that is that it's not exclusive to Lafayette or to Whitmer. So we are just ones that explore because most of our communities are served with the school.
I
district.
think we
So
have to
if
also-
anybody has interest in being a part of that, to please come reach out and contact us. It's not a closed door thing.
I think we also have to recognize that CV reaches beyond the 4 fire companies too. But the the positive of a program like that is beneficial to everyone. So, whether it reaches beyond or not, does that really matter as long as we have some positive outcome from that? Eric, do you have any input on anything that you have initiated with Whitmer in the past as more progress? Okay. Okay, would you like to expound on what you've done this weekend with? Or we let that go?
This past week, one of the things that happened this past weekend was the church had a nonprofit organizations. So they had about 20, over 20 people at each of at the things that just never done because that was basically, church had in the organization. I believe it's, at least in my experience, it's the first time we've done that. But I met,
It was a great group, 20 or so, mostly younger folks. They busted their butt for an hour and a half, I believe it was 2 hours. Got a bunch of projects that had been pushed on the back burner. We definitely appreciated it. Looking forward to hopefully them coming out next year for us.
You think you're going to see any?
I'm not sure. I had a conversation with their one of their leaders, and they're having the same problem as us, finding volunteers for in their church. I think we'll get them out for an Oxford or two to help out, but as far as running fire calls, I don't believe we're going to have too much interest.
Well, pertaining to other things that have been going on, Susie and Mike Lorelli from High and I met, 2 or 3 weeks ago or so. And then Mike and I met again this past Friday, just to try to get an idea of types of presentations, types of outreach, types of, pieces of information we need to get out to the community. And when Mike and I, and Dave, you put a lot of this stuff together. A lot of these PowerPoint presentations were things either David had put together or things that we had received from a variety of other places, some of which probably a lot of you have seen. And what Mike and I are doing is just digesting it, taking them apart, and then trying to load them into 5 or 6 different presentations, 5 or 6 different tools to go out to the community. One is volunteerism, and that's 2 parts. It's the operational, which are running out on fire calls, and then the non-operational, which are the volunteer stuff, like what was happening this past Saturday, all the way up to and including things like being a treasurer and writing checks and doing the administrative stuff for fire companies. So finding a way to reach out to communities. It may be on a development by development basis. Fundraising and outreach, just in terms of going out and contacting people. So there would be a specific PowerPoint presentation or deck or document, that you meet one-on-one with a new organization that's bought a company in the area, or a change of hands in their top leadership. Something that we can go out and talk to those individuals. Township updates, things that we need to give to the township. That's an update from the fire company to say, this is where we're at, this is what we're doing, those kinds of things that can be passed along to other places. Broader community and civic engagement. So, Lions clubs, things of that nature, where you're going to give a presentation at a Lions Club meeting, and maybe you get one volunteer, you get either an operational or non-operational type of volunteer. And then the other one are like grants that you would apply for grants. You need to have a deck ready or a document ready to go out and secure grants. So those are the things that we're working on right now, Mike and I. He just sent me the slides about 2 days ago, and we're going to start tearing them apart and then putting them back together in those 5 pieces. And if we have to get permission from people that were the originators of those, then we have to do that. But it really goes back to a couple meetings ago where you said about putting things together, and it's not intended to be just Lafayette. It's intended that Lafayette, we're doing it for Lafayette, but it can be cut and paste for any other fire company. And put different logos and different shields on, and add some different documents, and you're off and ready to go. So those are some of the things that we're doing, but pertaining to just the grassroots stuff, the community helping out in non-operational ways. That's what we've been doing. I think the development, Hartman Station development, and then also through some of the churches.
Anyone else have any further comments at this point? Okay. you indicated you're willing to share that with the committee at some point. And I think that would be extremely worthwhile for all of us to help possibly.
Well, it's really important to know who are the stakeholders that we need to reach out to. And, what are some of and part of what we see giving to the township is what's changed in the fiefdom that's covered by specific fire company. What new buildings are going up, what buildings are going out, who's changed hands in terms of ownership of businesses, those kinds of things. Changing traffic patterns, changing, development or housing things. Some of that's known, some of it's seen, but you don't always see the impact of it. Whitmer goes on a fire call and all of a sudden something's happening somewhere, or Lafayette's going on a fire call. I know Howard Hershey and I've talked about times when they tried to get from one place to another and they couldn't get it because of a specific time of year, a specific event going on, those kinds of things. And that's what we're really trying to put into these packages.
Okay, thank you. All right, there's no any more discussion on our human resources at this time? We'll move to any other old business.
I have some more for human resources.
Okay, go ahead.
I did send out a document probably about an hour ago to the committee's email address. Basically, it was an outline of the efforts that Lafayette has made year to date. So year to date, everybody can read them in their email. Year to date, we've attended probably 30 some events and made contact with the community. On the bottom portion under the line is what's already scheduled for the remainder of the year, but there will be more that pops in there. The next page was basically about our recruitment and retention committee. We've actually kickstarted that, and we've created a budget for recruitment and retention. So that'll be a yearly expenditure, probably $4,000 we have in the budget this year so far. I mean, we've already, if anybody's seen the billboard that was down by the Wise Markets at the Bridgeport intersection, we purchased a billboard. It's not that expensive, but that was posted for 30 days. We did do some social media. It costs money to post on social media as far as ads go. So posted there. We had some posters printed and we distributed those to the storefronts of businesses. We made 86 contacts with businesses to distribute our effort for volunteering and in need of members. Our recruitment website has been updated, and we started an effort to, we have a lot of recruitment yard signs. We don't want to put them all out at once and do overkill, but we have a few that we have stuck out, and we'll try and keep that effort going too. So pretty much kickstarted the recruitment and retention. We have about, I'm going to say 15 more ideas that are still up for discussion that the committee has come up with to try and generate volunteers. One of those ideas though, and this was a discussion at the last EOC meeting or the last ESC meeting was, I believe it was, the comment was the community does not really understand us. So how can we get the community to understand us? I understand the efforts that Eric and Mike Lorelli are doing with trying to create a PowerPoint that we can go out there and we can show to the different churches or the outreach community, outreach basically to the community, whether it would be clubs and organizations or whatever. One of the things that was listed after the community does not really understand us is the township newsletter. And I would like to propose that we start to promote the fire companies in the township newsletter, whether it's a half page, a full page, or whatever it may be, to start getting the fire companies in here, because the people don't understand what we're all about and how much money volunteering saves the community. I have a person who will write that article. Whether we do it once a year or whether we do it every newsletter. I'm not sure how many newsletters there are, 3 or 4, but 4. I have a person who will actually write those articles. I'm sure Desiree would enjoy contributing to that too. But yes, if we so choose to to do this.
I would think that we would want to have a point of contact in each fire company that is a go-to person to provide the collection of the information and all that sort of thing. So maybe we should ask that, maybe we ought to put together some sort of short program on what it should look like so that that person that we're asking to input from each fire company has an idea of what we're trying to do. Anyone have any?
Guess I'm wondering, would it make sense to have a person from each company, maybe 4 of them get in a room together sometime and just kind of, work it out? What, I guess first question would be how much room is available for it? And is it a once a year thing? Is it a once a page of news per newsletter type of thing? But I mean, I know we have a person that would love to be in the room and network with these guys and figure out what's the best way to draw people to all 4 of our companies. I think it'd be good to maybe have each company pick their top marketing / recruitment person and put the 4 people in a room, and let's get some ideas. One, I guess, would be my suggestion, but
Each fire company has a marketing person, is that correct? You do, Lafayette, you do.
marketing and/or recruitment and retention.
And Steve, do you folks? We all market. Yeah, but you don't have one person that's, okay.
We have to do this fairly easy for us because we can't get into, contact your Facebook page and stuff. That would work so far in our area, but with a lot of the plain sect community and stuff like that, we'd have to throw phone numbers in, things like that. So we'd have to kind of make it work for our end down there, which shouldn't be a problem. But
So can we maybe have someone step up? Can I ask for a volunteer?
I'm willing to help with it, but yeah, I'm sure we'd have Amy, but, again, I think it's, be a matter of having the 4 companies each identify a person or 2 for that matter, whatever.
Get each,
More ideas, the better.
respond back to.
Two people would be even better for us, because I think we'd have our marketing / recruitment person, but then we'd have somebody that's a little more familiar with our operations. The 2 combined would probably be the best.
Yes.
So, I mean, we're willing to host it unless Lafayette wants to host it. We'll absolutely send 2 people. And I'm willing to send the emails to get it started unless, again, I'm not trying to take it away from anyone either. Dave or Susie or somebody else wants to do it, I'm totally fine with that as well. So
Since we're in the discussion mode here, Greg had just mentioned about, since we do the newsletter 4 times a year, my thought was to do all 4 fire companies, which is the track we're on right now. So we have a rep from each fire company, but Greg had mentioned maybe we should just do 1 fire company per quarter. That would be a lot.
And that's probably fine. I think we had attempted that at one point years ago.
Yeah, there'll be room in the newsletter. That's not an issue. Just for timing information, they hit mailboxes the middle of January, the middle of April, the middle of July, and the middle of October. And we need copy for those about a month in advance.
So each of the 4 companies design a page, and then it's just a matter of figuring out who goes first or what order or whatever.
And the next one.
That'd be a simple way to do it.
The next one.
The next one will hit mailboxes the middle of October, so we would need copy the middle of September.
Okay, who wants to
Yeah, I
volunteer
think you
to
have
first?
you have a question from the audience.
So I understand the directive to do a single fire company each quarter. I think it uses the effect of the single. All volunteers. That focus, I still think that there needs to be an understanding that we're educating that all 4 fire companies are volunteer run. So that they understand why they're getting the fund drive letter, they understand, when they hear the sirens, that those are people leaving their careers, their data, you know, their family. Well, one, they might read one of the newsletter, but not read the next one, and now we're missing out on that outreach. So for me, the collaborative effort is probably the best move forward. That's just one thing.
I agree too with that collaborative effort. I'd rather see that, because then one company might have something that's coming up, they might want it for two
Well, then,
newsletters.
All right, well, then let's do this. Let's put an organization together and let 4 organizations that have the 4 marketing people put their heads together the first effort. And then move forward. It wouldn't hurt if we maybe put some guidelines together. What we're trying to project to the community. Start with. Paul, if you can put together, or I can put together an email, we'll send it out to everyone, and then we can quickly try to turn it around to get the group together. For people, for our companies at a location, we'll identify a location. That's all right.
You're asking for each fire company to send you the name of a rep.
Yeah.
Okay. Do that.
You know, just to pick up on what Dave was talking about, you know, just the short, like half-year experience we've had is that, number one, people don't know how much time you guys put in. They're blown away just by the training, first of all, and then they're blown away by how many volunteer hours the typical fire person puts in, you know, during a year's period of time. So there's a lack of knowledge about that. There's also a lack of knowledge about how they can be involved. Every time we've gone out to say, hey, why don't we try to help a fire company? You know, the response we get from a person that's in charge is, well, we'll get 3 or 4 people. And then we end up with 20 or 30. Because what we do is we take it and take what they think is going to be a 5-hour or 1 day a week, you know, one day a month for 12 months. And you say, no, we're talking about 2 hours. Try this. And just as what happened on Saturday, people walked away and said, boy, this is a lot of fun. And this wasn't that bad. And I wouldn't mind coming and weed whacking, you know, every week or every 2 weeks to do this. So it's once they get involved and they see that an hour or 2 makes a difference, they are willing to volunteer. And so I think that as we're reaching out to the community, we need to remember, or we need to start small and let it grow. That's just from what we've learned last half year.
Okay, so at this point, I'll send an email to everybody to remind everyone that we needed. Paul and I'll put something together to get things started. 2 or 4 fire companies respond back to us with a person or persons that will meeting together at a location, time, try to get something done for September, input through October. Thanks.
Once they generate copy or whatever, do they send it to you? We send it to you, or is there a person at the township that we should direct it to, or who's the person that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good. We'll include you on the email so that you understand what we're doing. Okay. All right. All right. Appreciate everybody's input on that. Any other discussion on human resources this time? If not, we'll move on to new business. So we'll poll is there any new business? That's the first question. Fire companies this time.
Yeah, just an update on a few things. So fundraising side, we did have our auction towards the end of June there, the 24th. Had a good week, good weather, and it was successful. So that's kind of behind us. Now we got a couple of things coming up, 2 more events that we have before the end of the year. We have our barbecue coming up on Labor Day weekend, on Saturday of Labor Day weekend, and then the following weekend will be our half marathon 5K event. So we're gearing up for that. Expecting to have a pretty good crowd for that again. And then on the firefighting side, you heard a little bit about our apparatus committees continuing to work through that. A couple other things we're continuing to work on is, again, human resources have been very much been our focus. This past month, I think we had starting to see some fruits of some of the efforts of our driver training program the last year or so. We had 3 new tanker engineers that are capable of driving the tanker now that checked out and completed their training. It's just in the past, I would say, 4 to 6 weeks. That was kind of the end process of the end point of almost a year of training process. So we're excited about that because it's a lot more flexibility with our drivers. They're going to continue, hopefully, to train on our engine. They're already capable of driving the squads in the tanker now. So we have 1 piece to go. We're going to continue to push that. We continue to work on our duty crew program. Again, that's something that we've been doing the last couple of years. We continue to refine it and make improvements, and we feel like it's working. The guys are kind of excited about it. Some of the guys were dragging their feet a little bit, I think, at the beginning, are starting to really see the value in it. And we feel, as leadership, our board, we really feel like it feels good to know that we have people basically willing to run almost 24/7. The only time they're not signed up is when our peak times when we really usually don't need them, which is like 6 in the evening until about 10 in the evening, because we usually get tons of help over that time. We don't even bother to assign it. But overnight and during the business day, we have a crew pretty much 100% of the time that are committed to being in the area locally and ready to go. So the more people we bring into that, the less time they have to be available. So we have shifts where you're going a half a day a week, that type of thing, because it is a commitment to make sure you're available. So anyway, we're continuing to work through that program, refining it. Recruitment and retention is really starting to get going now. So yeah, we're excited about it. I feel like we're making progress, trying to build some momentum here, and hopefully we can keep it going. And I guess final thing on a lighter note is we are planning to represent the township and Burdenham at the LCFA golf tournament tomorrow, and we're hoping to do well and represent you guys well. So we have 2 teams going, and I don't know, hopefully some of you guys might be there as well. But so yeah, that's all I have.
I'm not old enough to go.
You're not old enough yet. Well, let us know when you're ready. We'll go with the 3rd team.
Steve Rose.
Last meeting, I reported that we did have an order in for a new combi tool, battery operated. That did come in. That's on our squad. We have since we got that. When you buy 1 piece of equipment, you have to move about 4 different things. We redid 4 compartments on the thing the other night and have everything mounted, but we've got it set up pretty well for off-road farm rescues right now. Which we've run into quite a bit of those now. We have a larger rescue area now going east of us, and we've worked with those companies to let them know what we've done. But the battery tools are definitely the way to go. Makes life a lot easier. We had a house that was given to us to use. I think it's been torn down. But we had a lot of good training classes over there. We ended up with 6 new people in the last 2.5 months. And the people we've got, it's kind of nice. A lot of them the ages are from 16 up to early 30s, and they're all working together. And it's been a good benefit for us with that. We used fake smoke on some of this, of course, because of the under the 18 age, but put people through the paces. But they have been packing up, going on calls for car fires, brush fires, things like that, trash fires. So it's been working. We talk about how to get people to join your fire company. And we were out on a call the other week. We had 3 acres of a field burning just east of us. And that business actually supplies us with 3 or 4 people daytime. And they had all their people out helping us put this fire out. And we did some recruiting there. And I ended up with more people leaving that business to come out to help us. And they have since signed up to join. So, sometimes somebody's misfortunes is somebody else's fortune. So you kind of run with it. So that's pretty much it as far as us. The only thing I did want, we do have our hose and ladder testing coming up the first week in August. And of course, the night out is scheduled for the first Tuesday in August also. So yeah, that's still a go.
I just want to thank everybody who participated at the Motel 6 the other night. That was a lengthy incident, probably about 7 hours, and it was an unusual incident. I know it's been discussed at the emergency management level since that incident. They're still discussing it as of today. Special shout out to Vinny Patel. I'm not sure what he did, but I was told that he really contributed to the he provided emergency housing. Okay, well, shout out to Vinny and everyone who was there. There will be an after action post-incident report that'll be generated. I did send out email earlier along with the community outreach and the recruitment and retention for the year here. I sent out an email called The Frog. And that was an article that was in the PA Fireman this month. So some of you may have already read it. And if you have not, because some of you don't get fire magazines, The Frog is an interesting article. And it basically talks about the what we're faced with as a committee here, basically to resolve with the fire service in the township. That's all I have.
Okay, thanks. Grant?
Yeah. Back on July 7th, we had our blood drive, 5:43 came out, actually broadcast to the station. One of the departments doing blood drive right there. But it was pretty interesting. Child protect is happening throughout the summer. Children, adults, you get free vaccinations. Did our meet and greet 7-8 with the neighborhood behind the station. Turnout, but September. Kind of like Bronx, we had a house donated to it for one of the members. We had near Department of Trainings, and other members in the parents' house down there. Supposedly, a couple other houses that will have for a long time. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Okay, emergencies. Go ahead.
I'm not sure if this is where she brought up or after we're done with this, but I've asked the question. I know I emailed a bunch of a while back, and he told me to bring it up in this meeting here. Since Paradise has all their insurance and stuff, my question to us was, we're back on the box. Responsible for that discussion. Us, the line officers at Whitmer, decided that we want to put back our box.
That's correct, what Greg said. Since that time, I've had additional contact from Paradise Township itself, not the fire company. But it's my feeling that would be a mistake. Paradise Township has essentially severed all relationship and communication. There have been issues with the fire company itself. So I would recommend, obviously it's for the committee to discuss and make your own choice, but from my perspective, I'd recommend that you not do that.
This is where I see we're not still, because you get your side of the township, you get our side of the burden, so we're not getting both sides of the story.
Well, I guess the question, in my mind, would be with insurance.
I know that they want to talk.
Well, as I said in the email that I sent to you, there were still some issues with the insurance and how it was provided, and there's a lack of complete information there on what I was sent. But,
You're saying you get a copy of both insurance and that?
what you sent me. Yeah, I mean, the township wasn't listed as an additional insured on either of those policies.
Yeah, I would like to have our chiefs, I wish one of our chiefs were here to address that because they're a lot more familiar with that than what I am. So I can certainly find that out. I know we have had a few discussions about it. I don't know, mostly kind of informally, and the impression I'm under is they would, all other things being equal, they would like to add them back on as a resource because they have been a valuable resource to us over the years. So I guess I would be interested in knowing a little more the pros and cons. I mean, again, obviously the pros are what we see on the fairground. As far as we're concerned, these guys are perfectly capable of coming out and running fair calls and doing. I mean, in the past they have been. On the con side, again, whether that's administrative or, I'm not sure what all the issues are there. So I definitely would be more interested in hearing kind of both sides of the story. I would just say if Hutch was sitting here saying he doesn't see there's any problem, then I don't think there's any question. Our chiefs would be saying, yeah, we'd like to put him back on, on our boxes. And I'm saying that, I'm going out on a limb there a little bit because like I said, I would like to check with them and make sure that that is their actual position, but I believe it is. And I'm sure the question they're going to have when I go back and report this at our next board meeting is going to be, can you elaborate more on why, if they have insurance, that we shouldn't put them back on our boxes? And so I hate to say that, but that's the question they're going to be asking me.
I know a few of us here have Berlin's Paradise Society. So maybe we need to sit and talk, discuss this, and then kind of see if this is fitting together or something that's got.
Are there any negative ramifications as far as insurance is concerned? Township, how they will affect our four fire companies should we choose to do that.
We can certainly talk about that. I guess the question that I'm going to ask, and if we do get together and talk about that, is what are the advantages of having them on any of the call boxes at this point? Or what are the resources that you don't have except for Paradise Fire Company? Because I don't think that's the case, but they're a resource that's actually farther away than other resources. So
there's some advantages to them. They have codes. So we've had water rescues really close to this area. They got another rescue, which I think as long as it's used a couple times, they'd be second rescue. Same with us. They got a straight shot up there. I mean, I'm just kind of looking at some of the pros and cons that we're saying, versus, okay, we have wrongs and we need another rescue, our next rescue is either wrongs. We're coming from Eden, we're up at Lake Dock. Obviously, Lafayette will be there with the rescue, but, just kind of seems trying to serve the community using our closest resources. Just because township fire company don't see eye to eye on head. You know, that I don't feel that's right to the community of that service.
This is
Anyone
all
else have any
being, this is
input?
all being recorded, so I don't want to,
Well, that's why I said maybe we need to get four of us sit down with you, discuss it.
I will not put them back on Lafayette's box. And basically because they're not close to us. They were on fourth alarm barn fires. That's probably about it. And we don't get to a fourth alarm barn fire. Closer for 48 and 41, they're closer to, but not for 63. So it's no advantage for Lafayette to put it on back on the box. Being on the fourth alarm like that, I mean, everybody has a fire engine, everybody has a squad. So it's really no advantage to us. The only thing that I question is their sustainability. I know they have insurance now. I don't know if they're allowed to fundraise in their township. I know they still have a loan on their engine, and that was being paid by the township. So I'm not sure where all their funding is going to come from, because they won't be allowed to solicit within the township. So there's just too many loose ends, I think, for me to say yes. But like I said, I'm not going to go to that party. I'm not going to use them.
I think that that's not a decision that this committee should try to make and bring forward to the township. I think that should maybe be a meeting, a meeting with the township itself to make sure that there are no negative ramifications to any of the four fire companies' operations. I don't know enough about what's going on in Paradise to.
I'll just put my 2 cents in here. We had some brief discussion on this. So it's pretty simple when there's a volunteer fire company that's operating within a township and already has insurance. They're already checked, and we basically say, all right, we'll take any other township's word that they're working with to sort of check that they've checked all the boxes to make sure that the insurance and all the other requirements to operate safely and make sure there's no liability pushed into our township. What we have here is we have someone who doesn't have that. So my recommendation would be, if there's some way to create a checklist that someone can verify independently, you may meet all the same requirements you would as if you were working with the township, and then you're good to go. Right now, we're using other townships as that independent verification. Now we just have sort of someone's word saying they've got it. If there's a way that the chiefs could say, all right, these are the checklists that you should have, and if they meet all the checkbox requirements, and go for it. But right now, there's no independent verification right now, other than they could send us a copy of their insurance, but then that they can miss a bill payment next week. We don't know. So that's the piece that, as long as there's some way to independently verify you've got all the stuff, then sure, if the chief wants to put them on, put them on. But right now, we just don't have that independent verification. You can come up with it, in my opinion, go for it. So that's politics aside. There's going to be plenty of politics either way you slice it. But for me, it's, can you verify you got all the stuff independent of another township? If you can, and chief makes the call.
And I just got a question. Do we do, as a township, do we do anything like that with like Lemon? Because they're not running under a township, but we, we're letting them come in. We're happy to have them. Look at that. Is there anything like that? And for two reasons. One, obviously, prepared. More importantly, is there a checkoff machine somewhere? Right.
Yeah, I'm not aware on the EMS side. I just know on the fire company side, this is a unique situation. I don't know if we have any check box requirements or things we do for anyone running ambulance services, or if it's the same. Okay.
That would make sense. Yeah, that would make sense. But we don't have that in the fire company side. One fourth. Okay, all right, well, I would say that it's up to the chiefs to get with the township and work that out. Is it necessary, Steve? We haven't heard from you. Or you'd rather not comment? I'm not gonna comment, whatever. So I would say the onus would be on you to work that out with the township to make sure that you're not on the games. If you wanted to put them on, work with our township to make sure that there's no ramifications going to cause issues here.
Yeah. I think I want to be very clear. Certainly, we don't want to do something that's going to damage our relationship with East Lampeter, certainly. At the same time, again, common sense is all other things being equal. Yeah, we'd like to have them back on our boxes. And I think just a clarification, and maybe maybe it's better behind closed doors. I don't know. So everybody understands what's going on, and then we're going to move forward either way. But because it does, it pulls us both ways. Again, we've had a relationship with Paradise Fire Company for, decades. And, yeah, I don't want to comment on the situation because I don't know the details either. I just want to make sure that we're being fair to everybody. So, okay.
All right. Very good.
I'm sure our chief would be interested in meeting with you, Sherman. Yeah, helping with that process.
All right. Very good. All right, emergency services. Brett? Comments, Brett?
Yep. So as Chief Keenes mentioned earlier, obviously all of you are probably aware of the quite large flooding event that occurred at the Motel 6 on Lincoln Highway. That was incredibly. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Brett.
Okay, all right. So that was incredibly intensive for an emergency management standpoint with a whole lot of people that were basically forced out of their permanent housing. And we had to figure out very quickly how we were going to get them sheltered because of the heat and then storms, and then obviously transported to an emergency shelter at some point. To say that myself and Jeff were a little overwhelmed would have been an understatement. Huge help from all of the fire companies that came out that day, specifically looking at after the fire operations ended and we were more in a people management and evacuation mode. So huge thanks to everyone in the township. Huge thanks to many outside agencies that assisted with us, specifically Gordonville Fire and EMS with their trailer and their tent and hazmat team that came out. They, other than hazmat, they also have some specialty things that they can do with some trailers and support services for incident scene management. They were huge for us. And then also Lancaster County Emergency Management came out and actually stood up the county EOC to help us manage that incident until we were able to get the people that were going to the shelter off the site and to some sort of more permanent care. So just wanted to say huge thanks to everybody that came out, especially also the police departments. I know we were in contact with, I think, Charlie Thomas, and then obviously Township Codes came out as well and helped out. So just a huge thanks to everybody that was involved. Certainly learned a lot of things. Certainly there's some things that we didn't know about before that we do now going forward, maybe come up with some plans and that sort of stuff. So look for that after action report that Chief Keenes mentioned earlier. But yeah, that's really all I got.
Okay, thank you, Brett. All right.
Thank you. I'm told that police department has sent out to the chiefs an email account that we're asking everybody to use for reporting false alarms. to that particular email account, so we appreciate your help there. We are putting together a Google Docs document for our MS4 reporting. So we'll get that information out to everybody. Hopefully that'll make it easier for everybody to do the MS4 reporting when those events occur. So that should be coming out soon. Small operational thing, line painting on township roads is going to start tomorrow, so don't drive across any yellow lines. The resurfacing project, PennDOT's resurfacing project on North Bronx Road, from our perspective, has been a real challenge. They don't communicate. They don't tell us when they're doing anything. So I'm sorry for whatever inconveniences that's caused, but this is one of those times where I've got to say, not us. So apologize for that. I'm sure everybody saw the Walnut Street Extension, Lancaster Heritage Pathway Project is underway now. We do not yet have emergency contact information. So as soon as we have that, we'll get that out to everybody, make sure you've got it, so that we know who to contact when something happens out there. The normal stuff, if there's any updates to driver's lists or anything related to the fuel card system anybody needs, let us know. And appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Yes.
No, nothing that.
Okay. Okay, then I would open up to citizens' comments. Any comments from the citizens? Public
Just make sure that's on,
comments?
Chris.
Okay, Chris Miller with Whitmer Fire Protection Association President. I want to confirm for the letters, the 60% that you're referencing, because by our calculation, we should only be providing, and I talked with my treasurer tonight, that's why I stepped out, 32.65% of the sale, the resale of the vehicle of Tanker 2, if and when we do decide to sell it down the road. The reason why is Whitmer Fire initially paid $165 for the unit. We're budgeting in that the unit is getting refurbed at $197. That total comes to $362, thousands of dollars. The 60% out of, so if you take 362 and you go with the 60% that the township is contributing, which is 118.2, that is 32.65% of the sale of the vehicle when it's resale. I don't have a problem taking that number back to my next company and putting it on the agenda, but it should not be the 60% if and when we do decide to resell it. So I'm just confirming that because there was a motion here and it said 60% of the resale. So after talking to our treasurer, 33%, would be fine with providing back to the township. We totally agree with that. We don't have a problem with reimbursing the township the correct percentage, but we just want to make sure we have the percentage correct. Thank you.
Chris, I guess we need to figure that out then, huh?
So does that mean we need to, I guess we need to decide as a committee whether we support that. If we do, we need to rescind the motion or change it, or I second it. I'm open to doing it either way. I mean, I think it's a fair argument. I don't have a problem changing the motion, but it was Dave's motion, I think. So I don't know how the rest of the committee feels about it.
Okay. 357 is, that was the fire company's cost initially. Is that what you're saying, Chris?
So the total cost of the vehicle, we initially paid $165,000 was our initial cost. So go back on the years, it's a great deal. Yeah, and then now we're paying $197 is the new cost when you add that up, so if we just say the total of the vehicle cost over all the lifespan, this isn't all the, 24,000 we put in repairs, we're fine eating that cost. The total cost of this vehicle technically is 362,000. The township has only contributed 118. We're very thankful for that. Don't get me wrong. So the township has contributed. It's greatly contributed 118,200. So that is actually 33% of the total cost. That's why we're,
Yeah, it is 30.
When I made the motion, that was based on the refurb cost.
I just want to if that's how the motion was and phrased, I just want to make sure, but
While we're making sure, the township did not provide any dollars to the original.
Right.
Right.
Okay,
So I just
so
wanna
this
make
will be
sure.
just, my motion was for 60% of the refurb cost.
Okay, so let's make sure that we have that.
Okay, that's
in the
fine.
minutes.
So when we submit a letter back, we'll include that it will be the
Yeah,
refurbishment cost, which comes out to X amount of dollars.
okay, good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, very good. Okay.
Statement regarding some of the talk around Paris Fire Company this evening.
Where are you from, Bill?
Lafayette.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that this board and this committee understands that this township is lacking some service by not utilizing the Paris Fire Company, specifically boat service. So probably love one floating down the Mill Creek tonight. We're waiting on food from Guard Spot Fire Rescue or Constant Volunteer Fire. So I just want to make sure this board and committee evaluates that lack of service and safety of the community.
Okay, thank you, Bill. All right, and I think that we still stay with the previous discussion that we had, that it's going to be our chiefs. Township to make sure there's no negative impact on township. But we'll take it forward. Thank you. Okay. All right. Any other comments?
I'm sorry.
Okay, Chris, go ahead.
I do want to just say accommodations to Lafayette on their cadet camp. Us, Birmingham, and Lafayette was coordinating that. So it was great to be part of it for those 2 days. So Lafayette did run an excellent cadet camp. It was a lot of fun working with the kids, and hopefully they were going to get a few firefighters out of that. So it was just a great effort on those 2 days.
A lot of good positive things going on. Yes, good. All right. If there are no other comments at this time, I would entertain a motion to, Suze.
My name's Susie Sutton. I'm with Lafayette and Whitmer Fire, and a community member that's become passionate about this. And I just wanted to say kudos to everybody in the room tonight for actually coming with like action items and following up from the last meeting, because we watched this ESC meeting kind of go around in circles. I did want to make a recommendation for people to consider about the way we all run our businesses at the fire companies. We utilize committees in order to get things done. And I wanted to make some suggestions for this committee to actually have subcommittees to utilize the expertise that's in the room. Because asking community members to be experts about operations isn't always fair. So I'd like to suggest 3 committees, and you've kind of talked to them this evening, but one would be operations to address some of the concerns that we're already speaking about. Second would be finances, and the third would be community and HR. So, thanks.
Thank you, Susan. All right, any other comments? Okay, if not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Second,
Second that.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I opposed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay, good.